Electronic Beats. Electronic music live and sound by T-Mobile.
Hamburg, Vespertine, die neue LP. Ja, was soll ich da noch sagen? Ne? Habe ich ja schon mal gesagt. Ne? Aufgeregt ist man natürlich, wenn man so eine Frau wie Björk trifft. Und I am so beautiful. Björk. Your new record seems to have like less instrumental parts, less beats, you know, less percussions for me. That's my impression. And I was wondering why is that? Is it like this? Or?
Yeah, I guess this album is very internal.
Yeah.
So it's not so physical.
Yeah.
So I guess it's more about being alone in your house in winter and snowing outside. And you create a cocoon. So I guess it's a lot of daydreaming. And I guess when you are daydreaming in your house, your mind kind of wanders from one thing to the other. So it's kind of more like a butterfly rather than a doof, doof, doof.
Yeah, yeah.
And also maybe more, this album is maybe more based on emotional than bodily functions. But funnily enough, I've never had so many beats on my records.
Oh, really?
When I was mixing, I had about 9 people making beats for some songs, and also myself. So I would have, when I was mixing, I had like 100 tracks of beats. And the thing is that they're all kind of very detailed and very...
Yeah.
But so they just come and go, but there's nothing that's kind of constant.
Yeah.
So obviously you don't notice it as much. But it's like with most things, if you have very big things, like the beats on Homogenic, you just need one beat, like, you know. But if you have, if you're into very micro, detail-oriented stuff, you need a lot more, many things, and it actually takes a lot of more work.
I was wondering myself why your new LP is like that, and I was wondering if it's like to find yourself back after all this filming stress and Thelma movie thing, and you did the soundtrack, and I thought maybe Björk wants to come back and find herself in this new LP because everyone's talking about Dance in the Dark, of course.
Yeah.
Is it like this, that you thought, so this is me again, and not like the other projects before, like this Thelma thing?
I think if I would not have done the film, I would have done an album like this.
Okay.
Because in a way, All Is Full of Love on Homogenic was the first Vespertine song. I think with the Homogenic track, they were very extrovert. They're very confrontational. Kind of when you it's like, hello, what do you say? It's very sort of like, yeah, let's do that. Okay, wah! You know, it's very hyper and very confrontational and very almost like aggressive and actually quite arrogant sometimes. And you go that far, and then I think it's a natural way to go back inside. And where you're more private and you're more detailed and sensitive, and I guess instead of meeting like going clubbing very much and meeting very many people all the time, which is very good and very enjoyable because it's based on trust and actually love and curiosity of human beings. When you like people so much that you even like strangers, you know, people that you don't know. And I think that's a great thing. And definitely was one of the biggest thing with the club scene is to embrace everyone. And I definitely, part of me is very much like that. You know, I really, humans are my favorite thing, you know.
Yeah.
But also I think, of course, it's very important to have a strong relationship with yourself.
Yeah.
And I guess this album is more about being alone in your house and reading a very good book, and then your best friend since childhood comes for a visit, and you have a walk. You don't even talk, and you watch a film. You know, and it's very quality time. And maybe you meet only over the year. You meet very few people, or it's the same few people that are the source of your friendships. And I guess this album is more about things like this. Surrender.
I think that this is like the fascinating thing about you, that you as a star or as a musician are still connected with, I would say, the underground electronic scene in England, maybe. I once saw you at a Warp event, like 2 years ago. There was this Warp anniversary, a big party where one night Techno was playing, Boards of Canada and Squarepush and all that. And I saw you jump into it, and I thought, yeah, Björk, yeah. She feels it and she knows what's going on in this music, you know. And how important is it for you to stay connected to these people?
Well, I've always been a music fan, you know, like, I guess I'm pretty, you know, addicted for life. I'm ill. And I remember first money I earned, I collect for 2 years, and the first time I went up to a city I was 16 years old, and I went to London, and I spent all my money in 2 hours in Virgin Megastore, and was buying things like, you know, Brian, you know, Suicide, you know, kind of all these things, and I guess I'm still kind of doing a very similar thing. I mean, what I do daily is I buy CDs, I listen to CD, I talk about music. Most of my friends are people that I can have. We can cook dinner and talk about snare sounds for 4 hours without the other one getting bored, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty. That's my daily life, you know.
Yeah.
And that's the people I share my passions with. Yeah.
Is it mostly like electronic music you listen to, or what's interesting for you, or do you have other like?
I guess this is exciting for me because this is still in the creation. It's people are like, you are excited. You go to record shop and there's a new record coming out with someone, you know, and you're like, I wonder what he's gonna do next, you know. So you're very excited, and this is also very special. You feel very privileged to be a fly on the wall when something so is still in the creation. I mean, obviously I was 10 years in music school, so I have I know everything, well, not everything, but enough about classical music to know if I need something, where to look. So I listen to that too, but of course this is different because nobody can change that now. It's a fact, and so it's not as organic and not as alive.
been like in the early 90s fascinated about the British dance scene, and I have to ask the question, what was so fascinating in the early 90s about the British dance scene? Have you been to raves and doing party a lot and going clubbing and dancing?
Well, I guess when I was very young in this band called the Sugar Cubes,
yeah.
and I've only been abroad a few times, and for me everything about music was fantastic and creativity. And I remember the first trips we went abroad was like '86. I was going to all the concerts, and it was so disappointing and so depressing. There was no creativity there. It was just dead. And I had such a build-up for all my life to see live music, because in my youth in Iceland, the bands that came to Iceland was Led Zeppelin, and then 5 years later, Stranglers came, and then 5 years later, Culture Club came.
Right.
And that's it. End of story, you know. So for me to go abroad, I was just like, I was just buying, you know, NME, and just, I wanted to go to 3 concerts every evening, you know. And it was so depressing. There was nothing going on. So I started going to clubs, and I found it a lot more creative. And so I would, and ended up getting to know a lot of people just in clubs. So I met Mark Bell. I met him in like '90. And Graham Massey from 808 State, and people that I felt I had a lot in common. Maybe not from a music journalist point of view, we were supposed to be enemies or opposites or something like this, but for me, like I would go home to Graham, and we had all the same favorite albums. You know, it's so for me it was very natural, and it's definitely built on enthusiasm and passion for music, and then in the end starting to work with those people was very, very natural. And like when I sang when 808 States asked me to sing on their album in 90 or 91, I can't remember, I was thrilled, you know, and very excited. So I guess it sort of started from there. I mean, of course, it's all about creativity, you know. But it was really, you go to a club in Manchester. I mean, around 1991, or Leeds, or around the Warp place, and no, everybody forget to go to the bar. You know, you just stand there, and people just have their mouth open, and just like, and every song is spun. People just like. They just forget themselves, and that's a feeling you cannot mistake for originality, and you don't care what style of music it is because it's just alive.